My weekend.
This is where we can't have nice things for guys. And hey, Jacinda, look, he's back.
Oh! I was like, who are you talking about?
I got books.
So we're going to read about the
Oh, there's just a random face frozen.
Yeah, get ready.
I'm glad he's frozen.
You know, make sure everybody log in and get onto ClassCraft.
Nice week to the office. Faithful Ortiz, Kaylin McNicholas, Trevor Pitt, Aaron Mashko, Sheila Show, Luis Sagamante, Michael Brightly, Matthew Hardesty, Anthony Miller, Jenna Mortensen, Helen Romero, Brendan Baca,
That was fun.
Aiden Norland. Please come to the office.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, everybody, our Interviewsday guests today. Aiden, welcome back.
All
Good to see you
students,
again.
please come to the office. Mark O'Donnell, Stephanie.
Oh, Aiden, this will be perfect for you because guess where our guest is from?
Where? Canada.
Yay!
Caleb Gibbons. Again.
Okay, all right, Shawn, do we got you there?
Jackson Larson, Michaela Gibbons, Stephanie Larson, and Mark O'Donnell.
I thought he was just not
Well, let's try recalling him then here and see.
What did he
That is a great picture, is it not?
It is really good.
I don't know, man.
Diamond, yeah.
Thank you, always good.
Welcome, Grandpa. Okay, class, quiet please. John. What's that? Because the district hasn't had that long. Can you dance on it like this?
You got that.
Well, you're sitting in front. Is our internet running super slow?
Nick, that could be it.
Big Ortiz, Trevor Pitt, Aaron Mashko, Sheila Show, Luis Sagamante, please come to the office.
Shawn Young.
Holy great. What's this dude do?
He's the creator of ClassCraft.
Oh.
Don't hit me.
She said she's a good
Oh.
Oh, that's not
Did you get
Hey guys, let's see if that works now. What is going on? Shawn, can you hear us?
Nope.
Why is our internet struggling?
That's weird.
Don't do this now.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you
Oh.
hear me?
We can hear you. I think our connection's a little slow today, so we might see you here in a little bit. But can you see us okay?
I can, yeah. You're a little bit hurry, but it's fine.
All right. So class, our guest for Interviewsday today, Mr. Shawn Young, and he's joining us from Toronto. Is that correct?
Montreal, actually.
Montreal. Wonderful. Well, we are so excited to have you as a guest. This is truly an honor. This is just a wonderful thing. But to begin with, we want you to start. Tell us a little bit about your background, what you do right now, and how you got to that point.
So thanks for having me. Real honor for me to be talking to you also. So I have a pretty special background. I actually been teaching physics for 10 years. And while I was doing that, I was also doing freelance web development. I was based in Montreal, but my associate was in New York, and so I would do a lot of all the programming. He's a designer, and he would get us clients in New York, and I would do a lot of the programming up in Canada, and we worked remote basically, and we did a lot of work for big companies, so companies like Chanel, the perfume company, and some large DJ schools and large brands in the U.S. And I just started ClassCraft as an idea that I had. I basically built a really horrible version of it. It was really ugly and didn't work that well, but it had all the rules and stuff, and I just made it for myself over a weekend to I had the idea, talked about it with my students, and we just decided we should do it. And so I built like a really bad engine, but it allowed us to play it. And then there was never this idea to make a product out of it. It was really just this idea that we could make school funner. And so then over the course of 3 years, I just played with it with my students, and then I made a little website just to talk about it, and it went viral on Reddit. And so the day the website went up, 130,000 people went to see it. And then by the end of the week, that was 250,000 people who'd seen the website.
Wow.
And were really excited about Classcraft and asking how they could use it. And there was no way people could use it. You needed to code just to be able to give people experience points. So then that's when then the BBC called, and we got a whole bunch of coverage. And then we raised money from the Canadian government. They gave us a grant, and here we are today. So, now Classcraft is being used in 75 countries. We have 200,000 people using it, and just a lot of testimonials from students and teachers saying how it's been really impactful on them. So that's been really fun to be able to have a positive impact on people's lives in that way.
That's fantastic. Well, while we have you, before we get into some more of the specific questions, I want to give you a chance to hear from some of my students who would like to share with Shawn what you like about using Classcraft. Richard.
I think it's actually really smart. It gets me more interested. Like if we had in my math class, I'd actually pay attention for once. But I think this whole thing it helps you pay attention because you get rewarded for what you're doing. Instead of, just kind of being like, you passed the year, woo. But no, you feel like you're actually progressing towards something, and that actually feels nice.
That's awesome. And that was kind of the point when we built it, was for you guys to be able to have short-term goals. Like when you're talking about it, it's like, oh yeah, I'll pass my year, and then eventually, maybe I'll go to college. And then but when you're, I don't know how old you guys are, but you're like, what, like 16, 15? And when you're 15, you aren't thinking 20 years in advance. so Classcraft was kind of a way to bridge that gap, that time gap in terms of what's motivating.
Very cool. Do we have another student who'd like to share? Jonathan.
Yeah, sure. I really like how the interface with the leveling up system allows us to set up smaller goals that are short term, so we're able to commit to them instead of long period goals, as Richard said, that will eventually lose focus or motivation and stop.
Good point. Very cool.
Awesome.
So with Classcraft being as large as it has become, talk a little bit about what communication skills that you have to use in working with others and in kind of keeping all this going.
Well, there's a few aspects to that. One of them is we don't have an office. Our entire team is remote, so we have 10 people working for us, and they all work from their house. So Skype is our office. So there's, in terms of managing the team, there's a real thing there in the sense that we never hang out really. We hang out once a year. We have a big Christmas party. We fly everybody to Montreal, and that's the only time in the year that we physically see each other. So there's some skills there in terms of how do you drive motivation in your employees, and even though you're not seeing them face to face. And so part of that is management. Part of it, everybody's really happy to be working on a product that is having such a positive impact on people. And so I think if you're doing good stuff, people are excited and they're proud to be working on it. They're proud to say, I'm working on Classcraft, as opposed to working for, Walmart or something. So I think that social element is pretty positive. And then I've been doing a lot of conferences. I've been traveling a lot in the last 2 months. So I went to Utah for a conference, and then we won a prize from the National School Board Association. So I went to Tennessee to pick that up, and then I went to Texas for a week for another conference, South by Southwest, and then I was just in Arizona, and I'm going to Berlin, and so traveling a lot, talking to people about what Classcraft is, what's the point, why is it, special, how they can use the principles, because there's real principles behind Classcraft to drive motivation that we borrowed from video games. And so a lot of people are interested in what that looks like. So, so we've been really, just been traveling a lot, spreading that message. And I think it's important to be able to meet people where they're at. That conversation is different if I'm talking to gamer folks than if I'm talking to teachers and if I'm talking to school board people, so to researchers. And so, it's important to be able to adjust your message based on who you're talking to also.
So tell us a little bit about the conference in Utah. What was that one for?
It was for Title I. Title I is an organization in the States. It's a federal thing that gives money to schools for disadvantaged poor kids. And so we were there because Classcraft has been, it's still early days, but it's been shown to be pretty efficient at fighting dropout rates. So we've had, really poor disadvantaged schools in Detroit, for example, where it's had a really positive impact on kids. And so we're trying to get the word out to that crowd. It was all like principals and district heads and a few teachers, but we even had one woman who teaches in jail to kids who were in jail. And when she found out, she came up to our booth and found out about Classcraft, she started crying because she saw so much potential for her, incarcerated kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's one of the things I really enjoyed about Classcraft, especially the forums, is just being able to see what other ideas that other teachers have come up with that may not have necessarily been built into part of the game. And that's been really, really helpful.
Well, it was really important for us when we built it. And, I'm a teacher, so it was obvious for me that Classcraft had to be as customizable as possible so that people could use it in their own context. I mean, obviously somebody using it in your context and somebody using it in a jail context and somebody using it for homeschooling or, we have people using it in grade 3, all those contexts are totally different. So it was really important for people to be able to create their own structure around Classcraft and Classcraft just be a vessel for that.
Very good. So as a teacher and as in the business side of things as well, sorry, I'm losing my voice. That assembly, I yelled a lot. So tell us, what would you say are the, looking at both teaching and communicating at these conferences and with your employees, what would you say are the 3 most important communication skills that you use?
This seems pretty stupid, but being very responsive. So we do a lot of communication by email, and we communicate with our customers through the forums and the tickets and through social media. And for me, one of the really important things is to just answer really quickly. And a lot of the times I'll write emails to people and it'll take them like 5 days to get back to me, and then it's like very annoying. And even if your email is like, hey, I don't have time to answer you right now, but I got your email, I think that's very respectful for the person you're communicating with. So I think definitely one of the things is to be as responsive as possible. I think another thing is to I think we have to be able to practice active listening, so be able to listen to the person you're talking to, but at the same time hold your stance. For example, we had one teacher on the forums who was just raging about the pet tasks in Classcraft and saying how, some of them are long compared to what the actual task is. So, for example, one of them is you have to light a fire with your pet, and then that takes like 3 days, and you're saying how, that doesn't make sense. And he was being very aggressive about it. And so, one way to answer that would be to say, oh, so sorry. Some other companies would maybe ignore him. And what I did was go on there and tell him, the people reading this message, which is really spiteful, are the people who made those tasks. And we're only 10 people working here, so keep in mind that, you're actually affecting people's feelings. And, you're right, there's a bit of a discrepancy there, but, we're doing the best we can. And, just being really upfront and honest about it and saying, holding my ground there. And he went back and apologized, and now he's actually helping us, sort it out and stuff. So I think that there's a real, you have to be courageous about, respectfully holding your ground. I think is another important thing. I think that also, I think that you have to also make sure your message is clear and clean. Like, this is so basic, but it's like, you can't have spelling mistakes. You have to make sure you're not like putting useless things in what you're talking about. Like if I go to a conference and it lasts 10 minutes, I have to make sure that in 10 minutes, I'm not going off on a random thing and wasting people's time. So I think that there's a real like adjusting of your message, and that's just a mark of respect for the people that you're talking with, to make sure that they're getting what they came for.
Excellent. Those are great. I'm really losing my voice. Those are some great concepts. We really appreciate those. My next question for you is, again, based on Classcraft now, what's the most common feedback that you get from students? I know you probably get a lot from teachers and from other, educators and many others, adults, but as far as like high school students, you guys get a lot of feedback from them?
Yeah. So some of the feedback we get is Classcraft is so amazing because we have short-term goals. That's one of them. Another one is Classcraft is great because I get to eat in class and have cool flowers. But sometimes we get some really insightful and not insightful, but some more heartfelt feedback about how Classcraft has really changed people's lives. And one of them, for example, is, so there's an event, I don't know if you guys have this one, but one of the events is somebody in class has to go up and sing in front of the class. And this is like a grade 8 student. She gets picked for that with the Wheel of Destiny. And she has to go in front of the class, and she goes up and she has to sing a song, and she just starts crying in front of everybody. And, normally you'd be like, wow, that's a horrible experience. But then everybody, because first of all, her team went up. They went up with her and started singing like "Row Row Your Boat" with her, and then finally the whole class chimed in. And this was a student who was really shy and had problems integrating. And all of a sudden, like for her, it was just life changing to see that these other kids had stepped up and helped her spontaneously. And so. And she was talking about how, there's been such a profound impact for her to just get that confidence and that Classcraft had created a space where, helping each other navigate school was, something that's natural. And now, now she has more friends in her class. She's not as shy anymore. And, I think that we have a few stories like that are just like, it's really had a really positive impact on some people's lives. Just from a human aspect. So I think that's very rewarding.
That's really cool. That's a great story. We had a singing event in here, which I did not know was actually one of the events for the random event, which was where the teacher had to sing karaoke.
Got it on tape.
Yeah.
I did Wrecking Ball twice last year, and what does the fox say with that one?
Oh, nice. I'll see if we can, if we have that on social media, I'll tag you in that video.
That'd be awesome. What was your song, Bradley?
We'll Make You Beautiful by One
yes,
Direction.
One Direction.
Oh, yeah, One Direction.
I love One Direction.
One of their members just went off from the band. Were any of you guys really sad about that?
I'm sure we had a few heartbroken students. Okay. Let's see. First, any other questions really quick do you guys have before I ask some more? You have one?
No, I said you go.
Okay, I've got plenty of questions. This is great. So jumping back, let's go back in time a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the whole process of, I see this amazing product and what it's doing for students. Tell us about how just those initial brainstorming or discussions, how'd those kind of start before it came to fruition?
So it's no secret that I'm a pretty big gamer myself. I have less time now. I'm still teaching part-time, and I run this company, and I have a little baby now, so I don't game as much. But I was a big, Diablo player, big World of Warcraft player, did raids and that whole stuff. So, I still game. I just got Bloodborne on my PS4. It's awesome. I haven't tried it yet. But, so for me, there was something there that was part of my culture. And now more and more video games are part of everybody's culture. Everybody games now, not just kids and students, but a lot of adults. I mean, my grandma just turned 90, and we play online games together. So I think that it totally makes sense to bring that into the classroom. Like in the 70s, VHS came out, and teachers could bring TVs into class, and that was a big deal. And I think that now we're at a stage where TV is gone into mainstream culture, and in the same way video games have. So it just made sense to do that. And so that was one thing. I think the other thing is that it just kind of started. I had the idea sitting in the back of my head for a long time, for numerous reasons. One of the things I feel is that students don't help each other enough. And so one time when I first started teaching, I was teaching math, and I made a communistic math class, and I had everybody be in pairs, and they would do exams, and the grade that the two students would get would be the lowest of the two, and I was in grade. And so the idea was to make the person who got a low grade want to work harder because they were responsible for the other person, and to make the person who got their grade lowered want to help the other person so that they weren't penalized anymore. And that actually was, that's pretty hardcore because it was people's grades. But Classcraft kind of does the same thing with the teams and the XP and the losing hit points as a team. And so I really wanted to, I stopped that experiment after a while, but the idea was to find ways, because really, you as students are all in there in class living the same experience together. And it's just a shame that that's not addressed at all. And it's just your own grades, your own behavior, your own homework. And so Classcraft was really a way to drive, this value that I have, that we should be collaborating more, just as a human species. So it came out of there, and then it just kind of, when I first got the idea, I just kind of joked out with some of my students and was like, you should get XP for that, if, for doing such a thing. They're like, yeah, we should. And then so I actually originally brainstormed with like 3 or 4 of my students over lunch hour of like what the powers could be and what that could look like. And I had them do a lot of the events also originally. So yeah, so that's kind of the genesis of that. There's some real core values behind it and the way the game is designed. I mean, you'll notice that there's no way to fight each other and stuff. I did that on purpose. But yeah.
No, I don't think we've done it with this class. With my other classes, my English classes, we have another character in the class, a battle boss that we've created, and we have them fight against him when they do review activities. And they see every time someone misses a question, it drops their HP. Every time they get one right, it drops the boss's HP. And
it's totally coming into the game. We have it all planned out. We just haven't had time to work on it yet. But by September, that should be part of the game.
Great. So do you have any other little sneak peeks you can give our class about what might be coming down the pipe?
Sure. There's actually a lot coming. One of the things is story mode. So right now the random events are just random, right? Which is fine. But one of the things that drives motivation is to have control over your own destiny, and that kind of harkens on what you guys were saying earlier. Like, it's motivating to be able to control your own progress. And so what we're going to do is build the random events into story arcs. And so we're working with the person who wrote the script for Far Cry, and she also did BioShock. So she's working with us, and what we're going to do is make it as like a choose your own adventure thing that lasts the whole year. And so you'll have like a narrative, and then instead of like it being, oh, here's your random event, it'll be, do you, there's a dragon, there's a wounded dragon, do you heal it, or do you, kill it and take its scales? And then you as a class will vote on what you want, and then based on which one you pick, then you'll have a random event that's fit with that. So you save the dragon, finally it attacks you, everybody loses 10 hit points. Or you take the scales and, everybody gets 50 GP for that. But then those decisions will have an impact later on. So maybe you save the dragon and then he's going to, save you later on when you're fighting another monster or something like that. So that you guys have, power over that narrative. And that's infinitely more, challenging and exciting. So we're going there with those. Then we're going to build out some more tools to make coming class more like a game. So one of the things is we're going to build out active polling really soon.
Oh,
So the
good.
teacher will be able to ask a question, and then you'll be able to vote anonymously. And if you get the right answer, then you get experience points. And that's kind of cool because it allows you to answer questions, but with what you think is the real answer. Because whenever you as students answer questions, you always look at, by raising your hand, you always look at what everybody else is answering, or you're kind of shy. You don't necessarily answer what you really think. And so instant polling would be kind of like a quest way to do that. So those are some of the things we've got in the pipeline. I think there's a lot of great opportunities to, make the experience more compelling and even more like a video game. So one of the things we were brainstorming with is like integrating with maybe Minecraft to have like a 3D Minecraft map of Classcraft, so that people who played Minecraft could walk around a Classcraft map inside of it. So, there's a lot of overlap between video games and what Classcraft is doing, and we've been talking to a lot of cool people regarding that. We're in talks also with Telltale Games. I don't know if you know them. They did the iPhone Walking Dead game. It's a pretty cool game. And so they're also doing the Game of Thrones game that's on iPhone right now.
Wow.
So anyways, yeah, there's a lot going on there that's going to make Classcraft even more interesting.
That is just amazing. Those sound great. I'm excited for that.
Awesome.
So especially the polling, we keep trying to find ways to do different methods of quizzing students, and so that'll be super helpful. That'll be great. So all right, we got a couple. We'll give you a couple questions here. We know your time's valuable, so we don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
Richard, question.
My next question is really stupid. What's your favorite video game?
That's a good one. I'm a big Fallout fan.
Me too.
Awesome. I've been playing Fallout since Fallout 1 on my 486 PC back in the 90s. And I really enjoyed New Vegas. I'm really looking forward to Fallout 4. They've been really annoying by not teasing anything.
Just you wait.
Also a big fan of Dark Souls and Bloodborne, so I'm excited with that. Witcher 3 is coming out soon, so that's really going to be awesome. And then I have a lot of fun retro memories. I'm a big Zelda fan.
Yeah.
Of course. Metroid, just awesome. Yeah. I don't know if you know this one, but Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo. That was amazing.
Oh wow. We had one of our Interviewsday guests was Alex Walsh, who is a voiceover actor for which video game was it?
Infamous, the newest one.
Yeah.
Infamous Second Son.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was one of the characters. Which character did he play?
Eugene.
Eugene.
Amazing.
So,
I didn't play that one, unfortunately.
It was fun. So yeah. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for your time. This has truly been an honor. We thank you for creating Classcraft. Thank you for what it's done for my classes, for my students. It certainly has really taken student engagement to another level. And I'm excited to see what else you guys come up with because it's been amazing.
Awesome. Thanks for trying it out. It takes some real courage to go that route.
It's great. I'm looking forward. I actually have I'll be teaching a little seminar, I guess, here at our school, introducing it to other teachers in the district. So we're excited for that.
Hey, let Stephanie know if we have like PowerPoints and stuff already set up.
Yep, she got it sent over to me. I've got a couple posters we're going to give out to as prizes.
Awesome.
So it's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Great. Well, thank you so
Great.
much. And
Thanks,
students,
guys.
please, round of applause.
Take it easy.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Yes. Yes. They're all mine. I don't even know. I've read this book.